Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more of the latest news. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So these are lots to negotiate on this video today, but just going to give you some additional information in regards to Toni Kroos from Real Madrid. Now recent reports have indicated out saying that Manchester United do want to make a move for Toni Kroos. I do presume we may go for him in January, or may go in for him next summer. I do believe there was rumours earlier on in the summer saying that Manchester United were interested in Toni Kroos, but obviously he wasn't one of our main priority targets. But now the Sun have reported out, they've reportedly said that Man United have reignited their interest in Toni Kroos, and reportedly we do want to make a move for the player, and reportedly Toni Kroos could be involved as part of a swap deal of Paul Pogba going to Real Madrid, because I still believe Paul Pogba's future, Paul Pogba's plans for the future, is to make a move to Real Madrid. Toni Kroos is a really good midfielder. Obviously that midfield area is one of the priority areas, where Manchester United do need to strengthen up. Obviously, we failed to get a midfielder in, throughout the course of the summer. But I have got element of concerns anyway, about bringing Toni Kroos in, to Manchester United. Obviously, he's aging up. Obviously, he's now 29 years of age. Obviously, he's never had experience of playing in the Premier League. Obviously, there's a couple of players in the Real Madrid team, that have had experience of playing in the Premier League. You've had Luka Modric that's played in the Premier League. You've had Gareth Bale that's played in the Premier League, but Toni Kroos has never played in the Premier League. But I admire his fantastic career, because I think Toni Kroos has had a really good career. Obviously, the majority of his silverware he has won has obviously come at Real Madrid. I do believe he's won 12 major honours with Real Madrid as Toni Kroos. I think he's now into his 6th season as a Real Madrid player. He's made over 200 odd appearances for them, but he is actually primarily a central midfielder, is Toni Kroos. He can also play as a defensive midfielder and also a deep lying playmaker, but he's primarily a central midfielder. I do believe back in May, obviously earlier on this year, that Toni Kroos had signed a 4-year contract extension with Real Madrid, so he is under contract with them until 2023. But reflecting back now, over 6 years ago, we was on the brink of getting Toni Kroos. This was actually back under the David Moyes era, but Toni Kroos' move to Manchester United never materialised. But he has got good physical attributes. His passing's good, his vision's good and that, and he is creative in that midfield and that. But I just wouldn't be sure of bringing Toni Kroos in as part of a swap deal of Paul Pogba going to Real Madrid. So that's what recent reports have said, and reportedly Man United are willing to pay over £68 million for the player. So would you recommend Toni Kroos in to Manchester United? Like I did say, when he was younger, he was at Bayern Munich. I think he actually began his senior career with Bayern Munich. I think he also had a loan spell, with Bayer Leverkusen. So obviously had a lot of experience playing in Germany when he was younger. Obviously he's also a World Cup winner. He won the World Cup back in 2014. But he is aging up, so that could also be an element of concern. But probably Toni Kroos wouldn't be my type of player, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, that's recent reports that have indicated out, because obviously Real Madrid, they've spent a substantial amount, throughout the course of the summer. They spent around £300 million on 5 players. Real Madrid did sell a couple of their players, so they did generate some of the money back. But I think Real Madrid, are open to selling a couple more of their players and that, because they're still orchestrating on spending big at Real Madrid. But yeah, I think they would be definitely open to selling Toni Kroos. It's just if that, do you think he would be the right type of player for Manchester United? So there could be a swap deal on the cards, between Toni Kroos and Paul Pogba, possibly in January. But I didn't actually say anywhere that furthermore investment is needed into the Manchester United squad in January. I'll credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the aspect, he did recommend 3 good signings to the football club earlier on this summer. We spent over £140 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, and of course on Harry Maguire. And I do believe the trio have had fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. Daniel James has done really well. He's still a prospect. He needs time to develop. Obviously, we do know he's versatile. He can play on each flank, but you mainly see the best of Daniel James on that left-hand side. He scored 3 goals already so far this season. And Wan-Bissaka, a lot of people believe, and Wan-Bissaka has been one of our most consistent signings, so far. His distribution's good. He shows that ability to play out from the back. And I think, Wan-Bissaka, so far at Man United, he's replicating, what he did, last season with Crystal Palace. Because don't forget, Wan-Bissaka only made made his senior debut back in February 2018. And Harry Maguire, I think he's settled in really, really well in that back line, and I think he's complementing Victor Lindelof in our back line fantastically well. So I'm happy in the aspect, that we have addressed some of the problematic areas. We got that experienced centre half in. We also got that right back in, but these still, areas in the squad, that do need to be, strengthened up, because you can still see the deficiencies in the squad. And like I did say, with our failure to qualify for the Champions League, I do believe, that went against us in the summer. Obviously, because I did say certain players at a certain calibre and level, would have had reservations about joining the football club. But like I did say, it was going to be always hard for us, to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window, because this has only been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer anywhere as Manchester United manager. But I think definitely Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does need more time, to make further more investment in January and maybe perhaps next summer. But like I did say, some of the players, we was in for throughout the course of the summer anyway. I do believe we will probably reignite our interest in them in January. Probably we'll reignite our interest in some of the players, next summer. But definitely further more investment is needed in the squad. Like I did say in regards to James Maddison earlier, obviously, there was a lot of talks about James Maddison. There've been talks have been going on about James Maddison now, at least in the last couple of days, saying that reportedly, we are considering making a move for James Maddison in January, maybe perhaps next summer. But I think if Leicester are willing to do any business with James Maddison, I think they would demand a similar fee, to what they demanded for Harry Maguire. Because don't forget, we paid £80 million for Harry Maguire. Obviously, Harry Maguire is the most expensive defender in the world and the second most expensive signing at the football club. Like I did say, I think recently Stuart Pearce has had his overarching view on the speculation of James Maddison possibly coming to Manchester United. He's actually urged, James Maddison, to reject, a transfer to Man United and remain loyal to Leicester. But Leicester know how much of an imperative player he is. James Maddison is primarily an attacking midfielder. He would be the right solution for Man United, in my opinion. He would be a fantastic replacement for Paul Pogba, because I still think Paul Pogba probably will leave the football club in January. I think Brendan Rodgers has put him on the left-hand side, quite a few times as well. But he is only 22 years of age, is James Maddison. He's still got 4 years left on his current contract with Leicester. He's now into his second season as a Leicester player, as James Maddison. It was his debut, season in the Premier League, last season. And he did really, really well last season, James Maddison. He was involved in 14 goals. He created more chances there than any other player. But he reportedly said that Man United have been interested in, James Maddison since June. He hasn't been one of our main priority targets, as you're all aware of. We was tentatively linked with him. But reportedly, we have to pay maybe in the excess of £80 million to have any chance of getting him in January or next summer. Don't forget, Leicester paid around £20 million for him from Norwich. Was it last summer and that? Because he did have a good couple of seasons in the Championship. Don't forget, he's played in Scotland because he had a loan spell with Aberdeen. He also actually began his career with Coventry, and I think when he was at Coventry, quite a few teams inquired about his services. I think Liverpool and Man City have also been interested in James Maddison, so he could possibly be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's next signing. But I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will want to continue the pursuit of young homegrown players, like he did confirm earlier on in the summer. He did basically say he worked out his transfer strategy, and he said he wanted to get the pursuit of young upcoming players. But definitely we need to get at least a couple more players in the squad, because Solskjaer did say at the start of the summer he wanted to recommend at least 5 new additions and that to the squad. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does need more time. Don't forget, he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United squad. So regardless of what happens this season, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job should be safe for at least this season. I think actually the board assured that at the start of the season. But in regards to Paul Pogba, obviously he was a big miss yesterday for the game against Leicester. Obviously you can see the difference in that midfield. When you take Paul Pogba out of the equation, you can see a massive difference in that midfield. Obviously Matic had played yesterday. Obviously only because of Paul Pogba's absence. Hopefully Paul Pogba can regain full fitness for the game against West Ham, which is obviously next weekend. But like I did say, in regards to Paul Pogba, we do know now he's staying at the football club at least until January, which is very, very good news. And I did say he's moved to Real Madrid, this summer didn't materialise, obviously reflecting on the substantial amount we put on him. We did say we wanted around 179 or 180 million million for him. Real Madrid were not willing to pay that, and reportedly, we're sticking to our valuation. We've said, we want around the 179 million pounds for him in January. Whether Real Madrid are willing to meet this or not, I do not know. Because I analysed it, we don't want to lose Paul Pogba because we do know how much an imperative player he is. But yeah, he was relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid basically for the entirety of the summer. And obviously, Zinedine Zidane identified, Paul Pogba as his number one priority target. So in that aspect, he will be infuriated that he didn't get his number one priority target, throughout the course of the summer. But Paul Pogba confirmed back in June, earlier on in the summer, that he did want to leave Manchester United. He did say he was seeking for a new challenge, and he publicly admitted, that he did want to leave the football club. Wanted to leave the football club, basically, to rejuvenate his career. But yeah. But we still said want around 179 million pounds for him in January. Reportedly, reports came out the other week explaining the main factor reason why Paul Pogba remained at the football club. I think it was Adidas or something like that. Reportedly, Adidas intervened in his transfer to Real Madrid. Reportedly, Adidas wanted Paul Pogba to remain at the football club because they believe it's better for them commercially. But there is still a possibility, chance that we could convince Paul Pogba to renew his contract at Man United, because we do know that recent reports come out the other week actually, and they said that Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola, has been in negotiations with the football club, regarding Paul Pogba's future and over the possibility of renewing his contract at Man United, because Paul Pogba's got 2 years left in his contract at Manchester United, with an option there to extend it by a further year. So that's his current contract, and Pogba is on around 290 grand a week. So obviously he is one of the highest paid players at the football club, and I think if he is to sign a new long-term contract, Paul Pogba, and if he is to remain loyal to the football club, I think he would demand an estimated guess. I think he would demand in the excess of at least 400 grand a week, maybe £500,000 a week, to commit his long-term future with Manchester United. I also do believe with our failure to qualify for the Champions League, I think all the players got their wages cut by 25%, with our failure to qualify for the Champions League. But it wasn't only Real Madrid that went in for Paul Pogba in the summer. There was talk, I think Barcelona were in for him as well. Obviously, Paul Pogba's brother recently revealed early on this week that Paul Pogba's been negotiating with Lionel Messi. Obviously, there was talks about him making a return back to Turin earlier on in the summer, because Paul Pogba did have 4 good years in Turin with Juventus. Hasn't mainly replicated this form at Manchester United, for large portions of his Man United tenure, since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016. But obviously he's our most expensive sign. We did pay 89 million pounds for him. He's not only our most expensive sign, he's also a World Cup winner, is Paul Pogba. Recent reports came out earlier on this week saying that actually Paul Pogba had agreed a move to PSG. This is actually what it reported said. He agreed around the £429,000 a week, 429 grand a week contract with PSG, but just before deadline day. But Paul Pogba's move to PSG never materialised because of the Neymar side. Because earlier on in the summer there was talks about Neymar, possibly making a return back to Barcelona. There was talks about that, but obviously it hasn't only been this summer. That Paul Pogba's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously there was a lot of talks about him leaving the football club last summer. Obviously reflecting on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho, and I think in that aspect, Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes, when Jose Mourinho left the football club. But Paul Pogba with the football club, he's won the Europa League and the League Cup. That's all he's won with us, and that came in his second season at Manchester United. Paul Pogba, has started, 4 games so far this season. I don't think he's performed too bad. He was a bit below par against Southampton. Obviously missed a penalty against Wolves earlier on in the season, but I think prior to that he's done okay. He hasn't performed to the same sort of extent as how Martial's performed, Daniel James or Wan-Bissaka or Harry Maguire, but I still think he has done okay as Paul Pogba. Mainly so far this season, he has been playing alongside McTominay in that midfield, and to be fair, they have blended in, fantastically well together. Pogba's still 26 years of age. He has still got a lot of development in him. But I did give you I did give you some reasons, why I did say, he wants to leave Man United, because maybe he's frustrated with the lack of competitiveness. Maybe he wants to be in Champions League football. Maybe he does, want to be playing amongst better players, and he feels as though he isn't playing amongst good enough players at Manchester United. But it was initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan, to build a side around Paul Pogba. But we do know now he's staying at the football club at least until January. But now he actually could go to Madrid as part of a swap deal of Toni Kroos coming to Manchester United. But the Sun's not very reliable anywhere. It's been in a few other media outlets about the story about Toni Kroos and that. But yeah, and as we all know, Paul Pogba withdrew from the France squad the other week. Obviously, after he sustained an ankle injury, in the 1-1 draw with Southampton. I did say I hope his injury is not too severe. So it was disappointing. He missed the game against Leicester. But actually, I thought it was a good result against Leicester yesterday. It was very essential, that we did get back to winning ways, and we did get back to winning ways. It was only a 1-0 victory, but reflecting on the amount of injuries we had, it was in terms of that, it was actually a good result. Obviously, it was a Marcus Rashford penalty in the 8th minute. What was enough, to give us the 3 points. So 5 games now into the Premier League season. Obviously, we have registered 8 points from a possible 15 so far this season. We've won 2, we've drawn 2, and of course we have lost 1. But I did say, I think we should have a better season this season. We should have a better season this season because last season was a huge disappointment. We finished 6th. Obviously, failed to win any silver, and we did fail to qualify for the Champions League. And obviously, this season we can't enjoy a worse season than what we saw last season. But now, obviously, with this 1-0 win over Leicester, Solskjaer gave his overarching view on the game, and he said, it wasn't a great, we didn't play a great game, and that, the performance, wasn't up to scratch. But all that matters is, we did get the 3 points. That's all that matters. And Solskjaer did say, prior to the game that, Leicester in his press conference, Leicester are a really, really good team. They've got good players, and they'll be a team that will probably pushing for that top 4 this season. Like I said, Leicester, did a good investment, throughout the course of the summer. So reflect on the injuries we had, it was a really, really good result. But I still believe Man United need to score more goals as well. I still don't think we're scoring enough goals. We've only managed 8 goals in the Premier League so far this season in 5 games, and to me, that's not enough. So we do need to start scoring more goals. And Neville, like I said, he was recently saying, was Gary Neville, he had his overarching view on Man United, and he believes, we're playing, we're on the right track under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he believes like the style of playing, that's right, but he just says we don't have that clinical element. We're not, scoring enough goals, so we need to be more clinical in front of goal. We do seem to be, creating chances, which is good, and we did create chances last season, but last season, we only managed 53 goals in the Premier League, last season, and I did say, so far this season he's replicating, what I saw last season. What I mean in that aspect is I haven't really, seen much improvement. So hopefully now with this win against Leicester, it can give us some confidence and all that, and we can go on a winning run, because obviously, we have to win as many games as possible, if we do want to keep our hopes up for that top 4. Because I did initially say at the start of the season, our expectations this season probably will be to finish in that top 4, perhaps maybe win some silverware, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to exceed these expectations if his Manchester United tenure is to succeed. It's very imperative, that we do get that top 4 this season. But I did initially say anyway, our aspirations will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons. And I did say, the dimension, the history of this football club, we should be up there competing and of course winning their silver. We haven't, managed to do this in the last 6 or 7 years or so, and we haven't managed to do this. And as they'd say, reflecting on the amount of money that's been invested into the football club in the last 6 or 7 years, we should be in much more of a commanding position, than we're in now. But, I will back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer all the way. I do love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot. And, we're not really known for a sacking club. I know we've sacked 3 managers, since the Alex Ferguson era. We've had different managers with different philosophies. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is our 4th manager, since the Alex Ferguson era. I don't think we're ever going to replicate what we did under Ferguson, regardless of who our manager is. No one's going to follow his legacy. We're never going to, be the team that was under Ferguson. So that's something we've got to accept, but we just want to be back, to being a competitive elite level football club, and that's very, very imperative indeed. But I said anyway, analysing our squad, it isn't good enough to win the league. I don't think we'll winning the league at least for the next 2 to 3 years or so. That's my overarching view on that. But yeah, we've got quite a few injuries in the team, as you all know. Pogba's one of them. Obviously, Anthony Martial, didn't play yesterday. Martial hasn't played in the last couple of games, so he missed Leicester. He also missed Southampton, did Anthony Martial. And Martial is a very, very imperative player, and you can arguably say, before he sustained this thigh injury, he's been one of our best players so far this season. Anthony Martial is into his 5th season now as a Manchester United player. Obviously, I think he's scored a couple of goals so far this season. He's obviously scored 50 goals for the club in all competitions. But yeah, like I said, this is now his 5th season as a Man United player. Don't forget, Man United give Martial a new contract in January. And don't forget, at the start of the season, it confirmed that Martial has been given her that number 9 shirt. So obviously he's playing more central this season. And Martial does seem to be more effective in that central position. And obviously, that got proven, throughout pre-season. But developing really, really well. Only 23 years of age. And I did say, if he can avoid any more injuries, Anthony Martial, after this one, and he can keep the consistency up, I think he can score from at least I think he can score from at least 15 to 20 goals this season. Martial does primarily play out wide, but obviously now we're playing in more central. Obviously Rashford's been full in that central position in the last 2 games. Obviously due to the absence of Anthony Martial. Rashford wasn't too bad yesterday. I don't think he was at top of this world. He was poor against Southampton. The game against Southampton, he looked so isolated in that central position, did Rashford. But they are. They are comparable in that aspect, Martial and Rashford, because obviously, they both can play centrally, they both can play out wide. But I actually don't know, Rashford's preferred position. But despite that, he hasn't been great this season so far. Rashford, I'd still say, he's the long-term solution for Man United. He is only 21 years of age. He's only 21 years of age. Obviously, in regards to Luke Shaw, Luke Shaw's obviously, missed the last 2 games with a hamstring injury. Like I said, Solskjaer confirmed, Luke Shaw will be out for the next week or 2 with a hamstring injury. Obviously, he sustained this injury in the 2-1 defeat to Crystal Palace earlier on in the season. Luke Shaw, again, he's a very, very imperative player. I think Ash Young's, only been playing because of the absence of Luke Shaw anyway. Young has played at left back in the last 2 games. Obviously, he has captained the team. But in regards to Luke Shaw, before he sustained this injury, I think I did initially say, he has had a pretty average start to this season. But analysing the majority of Luke Shaw's career, I think he's been mainly consistent. Obviously won the double player of the season last season, did Luke Shaw, reflecting on his impressive performances in his our first choice left back. So whether he's going to be fit enough for the game against West Ham or not, I do not know. But in regards to Pogba and Anthony Martial, I think they should be okay for the West Ham game, which is very, very essential indeed. Diego Dalot, now we know he's injured. It's been revealed that he's got a groin problem as Diego Dalot. I think it's unknown when he will regain full fitness. Diego Dalot obviously is one of the right backs we've got. Obviously he's one of the backup options to Wan-Bissaka, just like basically Ashley Young is. But I do believe when Diego Dalot does regain full fitness, he should get given his opportunities this season. Don't forget, Diego Dalot, we only got him last summer from Porto. I think we paid around 19 or 20 million pounds for him. Obviously, we've got other injuries. Fossil Mensah, obviously, he's another one of the young upcoming players. He returned to Man United earlier on in the summer. He'd been on loan with Fulham last season, but I think he actually sustained this injury, whilst he was at Fulham on loan. I think it's some kind of ligament damage. I think he's a long-term absence from Man United. Obviously, same with Eric Bay. He's a long-term absence. I do believe he's out until the new year with a knee injury. Is Eric Bay. And I think, Man United may be open to selling him maybe in January or maybe next summer. Not because he's been inconsistent, basically just reflecting on the amount of injuries sustained. Because I think he's injury prone now, is Eric Bay and all that. And I think it's really affected his Man United career in a bad way. I think now Eric Bay is into his 4th season as a Manchester United player. We would be open to selling him. We probably would look to recoup the initial £30 million that we did pay for him from Villarreal back in 2016. But yeah, and Jesse Lingard, he didn't play yesterday, which I'm actually glad he didn't play, because I think Jesse Lingard's been inconsistent this season. Don't forget, he had to withdraw from the England squad, Jesse Lingard, obviously, due to illness. But despite his bad run of form this season, in the last couple of months of last season, I still believe he's the long-term solution for Man United. And in regards to Wan-Bissaka, I'm glad he played yesterday, because there was doubts before the game that he might not have been able to play, because don't forget, he had to withdraw from the England squad too, with a back injury, and it was bad in the aspects because obviously it prevented him, from making his England senior debut. But it was good, that Wan-Bissaka, did start the game. So obviously, reflecting on the injuries yesterday, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, had to make alterations in the squad. But despite the fact that we haven't had a great start to this season, I still think these players that have played really, really well. I've been impressed with Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire. Lindelof's done okay. Lindelof was a bit below par, in his last couple of games, before the Leicester game. But I think he really stepped up in the Leicester game, did Victor Lindelof. And I say Lindelof is still the long-term solution for Man United. I've been really impressed with Scott McTominay, this season. I think, he's been absolutely fantastic. I think he's becoming a fruition this season, is McTominay, reflecting on his impressive performances. And I thought McTominay, was really good throughout pre-season. These question marks around him, can he keep the consistency up? But it was good that he played yesterday. He kept his place in the team. And I think he should continue getting his kept his place in the team. If he does keep the consistency up. In regards to him being a long-term solution for Man United, in that aspect, I have got element of concerns about that. But so far so good, from Scott McTominay. So I have been very impressed with him. He's only very young, and he's still developing in that. But he's been absolutely fantastic so far this season. But yeah, there's quite a few players that have played really well. And I have been really impressed. I think the games Juan Mata's played so far this season as well, he's been quite impressive. I thought Juan Mata, was actually, quite impressive against Southampton. But yeah, so we need to keep now we've got this result against Leicester, we do need to go on a winning run, because obviously, we have got games coming up thick and fast, obviously, West Ham, it's Astana, FC Astana in the Europa League on Thursday, then it's West Ham away in the league, then I think it's actually Rochdale in the Carabao Cup. Again, there's an opportunity, for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to give the youngsters more of an opportunity in that particular game. Then obviously it's Arsenal at Old Trafford on the 30th, which is obviously at the end of this month. So obviously we are aware of how much of a difficult game that's currently going to be. But yeah, it's only early on this season. I'm still confident. Man United can get that top four this season, because we need to get that top four this season. We need to get that top four this season. But like I did say, we have got a lot of young players in the squad, that are developing and trying to improve. I'm actually surprised, that Mason Greenwood, didn't play against Leicester. I thought, he would have started the game from the start, but he wasn't involved at all in the game. He wasn't named on the bench, but he didn't play at all in that game. And I think Solskjaer recently, said, he was becoming infuriated with Rashford's recent performances, and it did initially say that Solskjaer, was considering, giving Mason Greenwood more of a prominent role at the football club. And actually Mason Greenwood is demanding more playing time. Only this season he's made 4 substitute appearances, but he has not yet started a game from the start. So when's he going to give this kid a chance? He is only 17 years of age. So I think he should get given the chance, Mason Greenwood, to fulfill that number 9 role. But he was really good throughout pre-season. He did really well for the reserves last season, scored 30 goals in 29 games. Chong, I think he actually made his first appearance yesterday, substitute appearance it was. Obviously he came on in the game yesterday, did Chong. I think, yeah, it is his first time he's played this season in the Premier League. Solskjaer did basically say, just like he did in regards to Mason Greenwood, that, he will be assured more first team opportunities this season. Chong reportedly has to work hard, though, to gain these first team opportunities. But Chong is only 19 years of age. Obviously, he received loan offers from PSV and his former club Feyenoord this summer, but obviously he turned down these loan offers because he wants to commit his future with Manchester United. This Chong, so he's another young upcoming player. But I do believe that all the young players will get given their chance, and that the ones there's some that haven't been given the chance as yet. In regards to Angel Gomez, it did initially say he should be a big part of the squad this season. I'm surprised he didn't play yesterday, Angel Gomez. I think he was named on the bench if I'm right, but didn't play. I'm surprised he didn't play against Southampton, because don't forget, he is another one of our midfield options. So actually, yesterday we could have gone with Angel Gomez, dropped Nemanja Matic, or we could have gone with him and dropped Pereira. But I think he should get given his chances, Angel Gomez, at some point this season. Obviously Alex Tuanzebe, he's another another young upcoming player. He came on yesterday as well. I think that's his first appearance this season, for Man United. Obviously it was a substitute appearance. He came on for Daniel James yesterday. Alex Tuanzebe, despite the fact that Harry Maguire and Lindelof are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice centre backs, I think Alex Tuanzebe, definitely should still be a big part of the squad this season. Jimmy Garner's not yet played in the Premier League this season, so we have got quite a lot of young upcoming players. And I'll credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the aspect, he does seem to have a lot of trust with him and his young players. And Solskjaer, believes, I think he believes that we're not short of options in that attacking line. Obviously, despite the fact that Lukaku left the football club. Obviously, Alexis Sanchez left the football club. And some people believe now we're short in that attacking area, with Sanchez leaving and, of course, Lukaku leaving and that. I think I've seen slight improvements this season, but not much so far. I think we do look a bit, better in the attacking third of the pitch and that. We've got more pace now up front, and that pace is something, obviously, Manchester United had lacked last season. And this is why, obviously, we didn't score enough goals. But yeah, definitely Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, needs to, get given more time to make more investment in January and next summer as well. And I think the board assured anyway, that he should be backed in the next couple of windows and that. Because he does need time, like I did say to, reflecting back under the Alex Ferguson era, Ferguson, I know we had 20 odd years of success under him, and, but Ferguson, when he got appointed in from Aberdeen, was it back in 1985, 1986, don't forget, Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years, and he was actually, at that time, one game away, from getting the sack, but obviously, it didn't happen, and look what, he did, with the football club, it was absolutely unbelievable, so, putting that into the equation, maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does need at least a year or two, to see, what he can do with this Manchester United squad. Because don't forget, Solskjaer's, there's only 3 players that are his, so Solskjaer, you can say, is inheriting 9 of Jose Mourinho's players, was inheriting 11 of Jose Mourinho's players, but obviously 2 of them have gone now. Obviously, he's inheriting players even from the Louis van Gaal era. There's still Matty from the David Moyes era he's inheriting, and there's still a couple of players here, don't forget, from the Alex Ferguson era that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is inheriting. But, like Solskjaer said earlier on in the summer, he believes he's following a policy that proved successful under Alex Ferguson. He thinks, he's following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. But definitely, does need more time. Obviously, the news came out earlier on this week, didn't it? In regards, to the new director of football. I do keep updating you about that on a regular basis. Obviously, we was in for a new director of football earlier on in the summer. There was quite a few names mentioned, who could have taken the director as well at Man United. And I did say at the time it would have been beneficial to recommend someone in who knows the culture of the club. Someone, of course, has got that experience. And I think, Ed Woodward now, is still looking to appoint a new director of footballing. Ed Woodward had spoken to former Man United players early on in the summer. He'd spoken to Rio Ferdinand, Darren Fletcher, and Rio Ferdinand, Darren Fletcher, and Patrice Evra, regarding roles at the football club. There was also Paul Mitchell mentioned early on in the summer, but reports emerged out earlier on this week saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, sorry, Ed Woodward has identified, Edwin van der Sar as his number 1 priority target, to become the new director of football at Man United. And obviously, Ed Woodward, is satisfied with the work that Edwin van der Sar has done, at Ajax. He's been the CEO at Ajax since 2016, so now it's his 4th season at Ajax. And I think Ed Woodward's basically going on the experience, because obviously Edwin van der Sar's got that experience. Don't forget, Edwin van der Sar knows Manchester United inside out, because, he served 6 years at the football club, when he was younger. He was a goalkeeper, obviously joined the club in 2005 and left in 2011. And I did say we need to get that director of footballing, because, we do need a structural change in the football club. You can maybe say if we'd have got the director of footballing, earlier on in the summer, then maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been backed more in that, but we didn't get that director of football. And it's not assured that Edwin van der Sar will come in, but like I do keep telling you on my videos, there was a lot of talks, going on about it earlier on this week. But I'd definitely say, we need to focus more on the incomings in January and perhaps next summer. But despite the fact, quite a lot of players have now left, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. We saw, obviously, Antonio Valencia leave at the end of last season after he served 10 years at Manchester United. Obviously, we saw Chris Smalling leave the football club. Despite the fact that Chris Smalling's left, we've still got 6 centre-backs in the team. Darmian left, Herrera left, Fellaini left. Obviously, under Herrera and Marian Fellaini, with 2 long-serving players at the football club. Under Herrera served 5 years at Man United, Fellaini served 6 years at Man United. But it was a shame we didn't recruit a replacement for either of them. Lukaku left, Sanchez left, and a couple of goalkeepers, have gone out on loan. But I still believe, despite all them have gone, I still think, these problematic players now at the football club. I think Ashley Young, this should now be his last season as a Manchester United player. Ashley Young. Obviously, Young's been at Man United 8 years. He's now into his 9th season as a Manchester United player. Is Ashley Young. Don't forget, the club gave him a new 1-year extension last season. And obviously, he's played in the last couple of games due to the injuries we've got on that. He did actually quite well against Leicester, so I will credit him in that aspect. But Ashley Young now has probably his past his sell-by date, basically. Phil Jones, he's another problematic player at the football club. Phil Jones, obviously, he's been here 8 years. He's now into his 9th season as a Manchester United player. Jones has made over 300 odd appearances for the club in all competitions. But obviously, with the arrival of Harry Maguire, obviously he's going to find it hard, to get in the mix anywhere. Plus, he's actually, aging up now. He's Phil Jones. Don't forget the club gave him a new contract, a new long-term contract last season. In that aspect, that was bad business from the club. So I think we need to consider moving him on in January or next summer. In regards to Marcus Rojo, he was subjected to transfer speculation earlier on in the summer. I do believe we need to consider moving Rojo on in January or next summer, because Rojo is one of the problematic players at the football club. I know Rojo did very, very well throughout pre-season. Obviously hasn't played a game yet so far in the Premier League this season. If Wan-Bissaka wouldn't have been available yesterday, maybe Rojo, would have been involved. But I think Rojo's Manchester United career has been mainly affected with the amount of injuries he has sustained. Not only with the with the amount of injuries he's sustained. Rojo's just got under 2 years left on his contract at Manchester United and that. But his versatility is very, very good, because he can play in various other positions in that back line. Don't forget, Everton inquired about getting Rojo on deadline day. Marcelo, Monaco and AC Milan also inquired about getting him, I think, towards the back end of the current window. But obviously, Solskjaer confirmed, before the Southampton game the other week, that, Rojo, is definitely staying at the football club. Matic, he's another problematic player at Man United. I think we need to consider, getting rid of him. Like I said, the only reason he played yesterday, because obviously, it was due to Paul Pogba's absence. Matic, he was poor again yesterday. He's too slow, makes that midfielder look totally imbalanced. And, he's not getting any younger, the Nemanja Matic, he is aging up. The club paid £40 million for him. So I think he's another player, we need to consider moving on in January or next summer. But like I said, we have got a lot of aging up players in the squad as well as young players. We have got quite a few fringe players in the squad. But for me, we still need to see at least a couple more players to come in, if we are to, be up there challenging for the league, or of course winning the league and that. But for me, there's still more players, that do currently need to go. Quite a lot of people this season, I think, have actually, criticised Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics. So, tactically, he seems to get stuff wrong, sometimes. So that's another element of concern about him. Obviously, Solskjaer hasn't really got the experience as a manager, not really to the highest level, and you can say that's another element of concern. He's got a bit of experience. He won a couple of Norwegian titles with Mould, and that was good in that aspect, and it was a great achievement for him. He didn't really work out for him at Cardiff. He only had a short tenure with Cardiff and that. He did well when he managed the Manchester United reserve team for a couple of years as well. I think he won a couple of trophies there. I obviously watched some of this team out this day and age, grow and develop. But he was a cheap solution, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when we got him in. We only paid, a couple of £1 million to get him in from Mould as interim manager. We paid about £1 or £2 million to get him in as interim, was it, or something like that, if I'm right. He had a good 3-month period at the football club. The results were good. He exceeded expectation levels and that, and he got the best out of these group of players. And we know it's gone all wrong, since he got the job earlier on this year, back in March and that. And but we also paid a further 7 or 8 million, was it, to Mould, to obviously give him the job permanently. But I'm still backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, all the way, because I do love him a lot. I do love him a lot, and so yeah, we'll now see what happens. But I do love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot. In regards to David De Gea, we do know that really, really good news has come out about David De Gea. Now we do know that he's he's committing his long-term future at Manchester United, which is very, very good news. And obviously now he's signed a new contract, or he's going to sign a new contract. Obviously that will end speculation, regarding his future and that. So that's very, very good news. Reportedly, David De Gea is going to sign a 4-year deal at the football club, a new 4-year contract with an option of a 5th year. And I think he's set to earn a basic salary of around 250 grand a week. So obviously he's going to get an increase in his wages. David De Gea on his current deal at the moment, he's on around 200 grand a week, so he'll get around the £50,000 pay rise. But I think it actually mentions that it could be more than a £50,000 pay rise, because reportedly it could rise up to 350 grand a week. Obviously, with performance related clauses, so that figure obviously will make him the highest paid player at the football club and that. But this was actually, stemming from Duncan Castles a couple of days ago. And Duncan Castles, like I do keep saying, he tends to be reliable, the majority of the time. He does, like, sort of he jumps too early on certain stories, like he did with Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire earlier on in the summer. But it tends to be reliable majority of the time, especially, when it comes, to Manchester United news and that. So I do, believe what he's saying. This actually got reported out on Friday. So like I said, it was a couple of days ago. But the Guardian reported out earlier on this week, they said David De Gea was close to signing a new contract, and it was stemming from 101 great goals earlier on this week, and they also said, well, this was actually stemming from Adam Crafton, who was an athletic journalist, and he said David De Gea is on the brink of signing a new deal with a football club and that. But yeah, I'm very, very delighted that De Gea, is committing his future, with a football club and that, despite our lack of competitiveness in the last 5 or 6 years or 7 years or so. He wants to remain loyal to the football club, so it just shows that he loves the football club. He's got passion, and he's showing his attachment to the football club. But Solskjaer said in his press conference prior to the Leicester game that he did say he was confident that De Gea will sign a new deal with Manchester United. But we have been in negotiations of getting David De Gea a new contract for over a year now basically. And actually at the start of pre-season at that time, it looks very, very imminent that David De Gea then was going to be signing a new 6-year deal with the football club, but obviously, it never materialised because it was supposed to be officially announced, his contracts, after, we returned from pre-season, but obviously, that didn't materialise. But like I did say, he said at the start of pre-season that actually, David De Gea, the football club had breakthrough negotiations with David De Gea's agent. But analysing David De Gea's career at Man United, I've got to admire it because he's had a great career with the club so far. Obviously, he's now into his 9th season at Manchester United. He's De Gea, so obviously this is now, well, he's been here 8 years, but obviously this is now his 9th season at Man United. I can honestly say I think De Gea's had 7.5 good years at the football club. He's been a bit average in the last 5 or 6 months. He was making costly mistakes towards the back end of last season, but that was mainly to do with the contractual situation. And don't forget, PSG, inquired about getting him early on in the summer. They were regarded as the favourites to get him early on in the summer. They was looking for the replacement for Buffon. Obviously, you've got Real Madrid, they've been in for David De Gea, a number of years. I'm surprised he didn't make the return back to Spain. Obviously, because he began his career in Spain, his footballing career in Spain, his relatives and that from Spain. And he began his career, with Atletico Madrid, did David De Gea. I also believe, Juventus inquired about getting him. I think Man United paid around £18.9 million for De Gea back in 2011. So obviously he's been here since the Alex Ferguson era. And I did say David De Gea at full value, he's worth £100 million. But I did say, wouldn't get £100 million for him, reflect on his recent performances. And plus, he's got under a year left on his current deal. So wouldn't have got nowhere near £100 million anywhere. But he has been change of narratives, regarding the David De Gea, saga and that. Because, it was only the other week that I was saying, we was at risk of losing him on a free transfer. And reportedly said that David De Gea told his friends he will snub any offer from Manchester United, in regards to a new contract. But the good news is we know he's staying. De Gea's 28 years of age. He has still got him a lot of development in him. He's also won the Sir Matt Busby Player of the Year 4 times out of 5 seasons as well, reflecting on his impressive performances. There was a couple of goalkeepers in our agenda, who could have actually, replaced David De Gea at the football club. We was in for Jano Blanc, there was also Jordan Pickford on our agenda, so we instructed scouts, to keep a close eye out on them. And, I did say if he'd have left, we needed a replacement, definitely. Would found it hard to get someone of David De Gea's calibre and level and that. I know Jano Blanc's regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world, but nowhere near as good as David De Gea. But look, we've got 2 backup goalkeepers. We've obviously got Sergio Romero, that's our second choice keeper. We've got Lee Grant, that's one of the backup goalkeepers. Obviously, he's injured. Our other 2 goalkeepers, obviously, have gone out on loan. Dean Enton's gone back out on loan to Sheffield United, and obviously, Joe Pereira's gone out on loan to Hearts in Scotland and that. So yeah, so we know now anyway that David De Gea is staying at the football club there. That's very, very good news indeed. But that's very, very good news indeed. But like I did say, a hell of a lot of money, has been spent. Yeah, yeah. A hell of a lot of money has been spent at Man United. Over £140 million this summer. Just under £400 million was spent under Jose Mourinho. I did give you the reasons, why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho. Obviously, at the time when you appointed him, we thought, it would have worked out under him. Obviously, we did finish second in our first season, I think, under Jose Mourinho. And obviously, Mourinho won the Europa League and League Cup with Man United in his first season. But it just didn't work out under him because obviously, Mourinho had bad disputes with the board. He had bad disputes with the top players. There was no sort of winning philosophy under Mourinho. There was no sort of transfer strategy under Mourinho. It was part of the bus football. So these are the reasons why it didn't work out under him, despite the fact that, he's got a proven pedigree. He's won stuff, everywhere he's been in that. And he was, back in the day, regarded as one of the best managers in the world and that. But it just didn't work out under him and that. Obviously, under Louis van Gaal, over £200 million was spent, as you all know, under Louis van Gaal. Didn't work out under Louis van Gaal because obviously he didn't have the right sort of philosophy for Manchester United. Despite the fact that he did well with Bayern Munich at that time before he came to Manchester United back in, was it 2015 or was it 2014, Louis van Gaal came in. And David Moyes, £67 million was spent under him. We know it was never going to work out under David Moyes anyway. He only had a short tenure at the football club, did Moyes. I think he only lasted around, 8 or 9 months. But obviously, he did really, really well at Everton. I think he served about 9 or 10 years with Everton, did Moyes, before he came to United. But I knew it was never going to work out under him. For him at Man United, because he never had that proven pedigree of winning in silverware, never really dealt with top players. At the time Moyes came in, it was obviously Alex Ferguson, that recommended him to Man United because obviously they're both Scottish and that. But yeah, so a lot of money's been spent at Man United. I think just nearly £900 million has been spent in the club in the last 6 or 7 years. If you want to take into account what was spent under Ferguson and that, we spent over £1 billion. And also if you want to take into account, the wages and that, because we have got players on big contracts. Obviously, like I said, now David De Gea, when he signs this new deal, he will become the highest paid player at the football club. He'll obviously, be the same as Paul Pogba, basically, because Paul Pogba now is one of the, I still believe I think he's actually now the highest paid player at the football club, with Sanchez going out on loan, to Inter Milan. If he's not, I think he's still one of the highest paid players at the football club, is Pogba. You've got Rashford, that's on a substantial amount, he's on that list of one of the highest paid players, because he's on over, 200 grand a week, is Marcus Rashford. Martial's on that list, because he's on 200 grand a week, He's on 200 grand a week. So we have, got players on big contracts at Manchester United. We have got players on big contracts at Man United. So, like I said, the main part of this video, was to give you the latest news in regards to the stories that have been coming out in the last couple of days, in regards to Toni Kroos. Reportedly, Man United, according to the Sun and a few other media outlets, they want to make a move for Toni Kroos, and reportedly, he could be involved as part of a swap deal, of Paul Pogba going to Real Madrid. So Toni Kroos could come to Man United, and Paul Pogba could go to Real Madrid. So that could possibly happen. For me, I wouldn't want to bring Toni Kroos in, because, like I said, I've got element of concerns about him. He's aging up. I know he's had a good career in that, but he's aging up, and obviously, he's never had experience of playing in the Premier League as Toni Kroos. But there was rumours going on about this early on in the summer, about Toni Kroos coming to Man United as part of a swap deal of, Paul Pogba going to Real Madrid. There was also talks about Bale as part of a swap deal, of Paul Pogba going to Real Madrid and that. But yeah, this could be just the media, justifying their existence, because they do that on certain stories. But whether it's true or not, I just give you my, my analysis, basically, what's being mentioned and that. And then I interpret it, into my own words and stuff. Yeah. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. And before I go, who do you think Man United, should sign it? Who do you think Man United should sign in January? I think we should go in for James Maddison in January, probably. Or we could leave it till next summer. We could now go in for Toni Kroos in January. Jadon Sancho, if we had to go back in for him, I think we could go in for him next summer. Bruno Fernandes, we probably will reignite our interest in him, I should presume, because he was one of our main priority targets throughout the course of the summer. Was Bruno Fernandes, and I did say at the time I would have been excited about the prospect of Bruno Fernandes playing alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield, but it's a shame that we didn't get Bruno Fernandes and that as well. But anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing. As always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.